Good morning, Mr. Wallace. My name is Steve LeCagnan. I am the President and CEO of the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce. And as you know, we're here today to ask questions of the candidates that are running for this City Council election that's upcoming. If you would take a few minutes to introduce yourself and tell the public anything else they need to know about you, we'd appreciate that.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for the opportunity. I do appreciate that the Chamber of Commerce is hosting these videos, and I think it's a valuable community outreach tool here. My name is Ryan Wallace. I'm running for City Council in Ward 3. I'm a community member in the Wiles Hill neighborhood. I live up behind the law school, and my ward includes the Wiles Hill neighborhood and most of High Street. I'm running for City Council because I've always been involved in my community. In 2005, I got a master's degree in community development. And since that time, I've had the opportunity to work in a number of community development projects and programs. And wherever I go, I like to be involved. So that's my primary motivation and background. I want to be involved in Morgantown. I want to make this city the best it can be. I know it's great already, but I think it can be even better. I'm currently a second-year law student at the WVU College of Law. I'm studying West Virginia statutes and ordinances and really enjoying that. I'm also on a full ride, so I'm able to do some public interest law on the side. Last summer I worked for Senior Legal Aid here on High Street, and this summer I'll be at the Land Use Clinic at the College of Law, working on some municipal planning and zoning legal work, which is highly relevant to City Council. So I'm eager to apply this experience and skill to City Council here in Morgantown. Personally, I'm the very fortunate husband of a wonderful woman. We've been married for 12 years. Her name's Christine. I'm also the proud father of two beautiful girls, Grace and Faith. We're a very active family. We love to do things in the community. We're active outdoors, and that's one of the things we like about this area. We go up to Cooper's Rock, the Rail Trail, White Park. We very much enjoy Morgantown as a family. So that's me in a nutshell. As I said, I just wanted to get involved on City Council to do what I can to make this community a really great community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question today concerns the transportation bill, also known as House Bill 4009, which was passed by the West Virginia State Legislature in March of 2016. It is a priority for the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce to obtain voter approval of a 1% sales tax increase to improve roads and related infrastructure in Montague County through this bill. What will you do to publicly promote and advocate for voter approval of the proposed sales tax increase for this purpose?
That's a great question. I think anytime you're talking about a potential tax increase, it's a tricky issue. I mean, we can all recognize the need for infrastructure improvement. It's pretty clear. Fortunately, here locally, we were able to make some changes, increase the frequency of repaving on our streets, but we have a long way to go here. And so I do support the concept of improving the infrastructure of Morgantown. Getting that into action is somewhat tricky, though. I think one of the key things we can do is start having these conversations, informing people of the benefits of having a 1% sales tax to pay for better roads. It's kind of like changing the oil on your car. You pay a little more upfront, but then in the end, that maintenance fee helps everything run smoothly. If we can have a better infrastructure system, we'll have better quality of life, less car repairs. You're aware of that recent study that shows how much West Virginians pay on car repair. We can all pay a little bit collectively and avoid some of those car repairs, and or we can let our cars die individually and pay all at once. I think the smart option is to work together to improve infrastructure. That's one of my main campaign platforms, and I would support that. As far as getting voter support for that, I think we need to have some town hall meetings, perhaps get some informational sessions going and really inform the voters of the benefits. At the same time, we don't want to tax people to death. So if we do implement and have this 1% sales tax, we should consider reducing perhaps or phasing out some of the user fee or even some of the other taxes municipally, and see what we can do to avoid taxing people too much. I know that's a concern as well. It's a concern for me.
Thank you. The next question concerns the concept of an alliance housing the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce, Main Street Morgantown, Sunnyside Up, the Montague County Development Authority, the Morgantown Area Economic Partnership, and also the Greater Morgantown Convention and Visitors Bureau, all under one roof in a central location in Morgantown. It's a priority for the Chamber. What will you do, if anything, to publicly promote and advocate for this to become a reality?
The easy and short answer is I agree with that, and I would publicly promote and advocate for such a measure. I think there are a lot of benefits to be had by combining these offices and organizations. And what I'd like to see is something of a Morgantown Civic Center, if you will, that combines all of these into one place, one location, for the convenience of consumers and residents, and also for the cost savings and increase in efficiency that it would offer. Practically speaking, I know that the Mountaineer Mall off Greenbag Road is a facility that's in good condition, that's being underutilized at the moment, and still fairly central location. I think that we could look at, as a city, moving some of these offices and organizations that you've mentioned to the Mountaineer Mall and making that a civic center for Morgantown. That would be the beginning. I think another thing we could do to improve that is to also look at some of the other needs that are in town. I know that daycare, for example, I have 2 daughters. I know that daycare, affordable daycare, is a challenge for many parents. And if we could open up or encourage someone to open up a daycare at the Civic Center, that would allow a lot of parents to re-enter the workforce. I'm just talking very practically here. And who knows what we could do from there. But I would definitely support, I would think that City Hall, City Council could pass an ordinance or a resolution indicating our support for such a measure.
Thank you. The next question concerns Metro government. What would you do, privately and publicly, if anything, to promote and advocate for the consolidation of local governments of Morgantown, Granville, Westover, and Star City into a single metro governmental entity?
I think that the idea of combining local governments is a good one. It offers some advantages in terms of efficiency, simplicity, streamlining operations, and sharing costs. You can reduce overhead. There's also a built-in advantage of negotiating area-wide issues. You don't have to call in different entities one at a time. So there are some definite advantages there. The cons, perhaps, are ensuring that there's an equitable distribution of representation. Anytime you do consolidation, you're going to have some who stay and some who go. And frankly, we need to make sure that all the parties, all the constituents are fairly represented, and nobody takes more than their fair share. And in order to achieve that, we're going to have a lot of buy-in and involvement from all the communities. So I would propose a lot of information sharing. Again, town hall meetings, public comment hearings. Let's make sure that we bring in as many parties as possible. We need to work together. I know that a lot of growing metropolitan areas have adopted a form of metro government, if you will. And I think it's a good way to go. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There are some good models that we can emulate and apply here locally. So I would advocate for that, provided that we have equitable representation of all the parties involved.
Thank you. Will you publicly support the idea of using some of the money generated by Morgantown's user fee to improve state-owned roadways that run through the city?
That's a tricky question, and I think that perhaps the bigger question behind that is the ownership and control and maintenance of such roads in general. I know that the city and the Department of Highways in the state have divvied up some of the roads, and it's often not logically clear as to which road is which. And so I'd like to look at the usage of each road, the maintenance of each road, and if in fact the user fee is needed to maintain Department of Highway or state roads, we should talk to them about perhaps assuming control or ownership, if you will, of those roads. Practically speaking, if a road needs to be fixed and no one else can do it, I would support using some of the user fee for that. But I don't want to have the whole situation of taxation without representation, if you will, where we would be paying for something but not having a voice in how it is controlled. So I think that's a difficult conversation, but one we need to have, and one we could definitely address. We have a new city council coming up this April 25, and I'd like to work with the new city council members to pursue this. Bottom line, let's make sure it's fair. Let's not pay for more than we should.
Our final question today is, what ideas do you have to improve economic development and create activity centers, economic activity centers, within the city of Morgantown? Since most of the economic development in the last 10 years has occurred outside of Morgantown's city limits.
Morgantown is a great location. Particularly, I'm thinking of High Street. If you're talking about businesses, it's a gem of a main street for this type of a town. And I'd like to look at ways that we could revitalize High Street. We need to make that both a user-friendly and a business-friendly environment. Practically speaking, if we want to pull more people into High Street, we could look at opening up parking on the evenings and weekends, see what we can do there. We also need to simplify and streamline the B&O tax, the business and occupancy tax, to make sure that businesses have the environment they need within city limits to operate, to function well, to function competitively. In terms of a specific economic development initiative, I think we should continue to pursue what we've already started at the airport. That has potential for expanding the reach of Morgantown nationally. And again, make sure that we make Morgantown a comfortable and fostering area for local business. We want to have jobs, but not just minimum wage jobs. We want to attract living wage and higher wage jobs as well. So, yes.
Thank you. We've come to the time now where we are allotting 2 minutes to each candidate to give their closing arguments, so to speak, to the public, to tell them anything else they believe is important about their particular candidacy, any other new ideas or thoughts they have about how we can improve the quality of life here in Morgantown.
Thank you. I want to make Morgantown a great city. It is a great city in many ways already, but I recognize that we have some challenges. We have a unique group of entities here. We have industry, we have commerce, we have education, and we have residents. And the interests of those groups are sometimes competing. So what I'd like to focus on City Council is a collaborative approach to any issue that comes up. Quite frankly, if we're going to function as a mature city, we shouldn't have city council members suing other city council members. I'd like us all to get along. Anytime that we're fighting on city council, we're not getting the work done. And the people who suffer are the residents of Morgantown. So my pledge is to bring a collaborative and goal-oriented attitude to the city council, to Ward 3 in particular. Working together, having the difficult conversations, making sure that we're making progress. As I said, Morgantown is fantastic. We need to make it even better. I've got the energy and the ideas and the drive to make sure that that happens. And I'm asking for the City of Morgantown to support me in this endeavor. So April 25, please come and vote. Make your voice heard. Ryan Wallace for Ward 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you.